Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all of you students. This is your teacher Miss Hasmana and I'm here with another week's home task. Let's begin. Dear students, the topic that we are going to discuss today is part of punctuation in English language. The way we study about full stops, question marks, commas, quotation marks, capitalization. Similarly, we have two more punctuation marks, that is the semicolons and the colon. Now let's see how we are going to use them in our writing. That could be an essay or it could be a sentence or maybe listing down things. Let's see. All right, now let's see the objectives. We use semicolons correctly in punctuating compound sentences. We use semicolons when necessary to separate items in a series, or we also use them to distinguish between the proper and improper use of colons to introduce listed items. We use colons to introduce quotations and explanatory sentences. To distinguish between the use of commas and semicolons preceding expressions such as, namely, that is, or for instance. To understand why semicolons are sometimes necessary to separate independent clauses joined by and, or, nor, or but, to capitalize words appropriately following colons when necessary. We use a semicolon with two independent clauses separated by a conjunctive adverb. For example, profits are good, therefore we will pay dividends. Now let's see some basic uses of the semicolon. We use a semicolon with two or more closely related independent clauses, not separated by a conjunctive adverb or a coordinating conjunction. For example, common stock carries voting rights, semicolon, preferred stock does not carry such rights.
Some more basic uses of semicolon. We use a semicolon to separate items in a series when one or more of the items contain internal commas. For example, some of the dignitaries attending are Karen Howie, NMC, Barbara J. Mallon, WITC, and Kathleen Stewart, MVCC. We use a semicolon to separate a series of three or more independent clauses. For example, the union shop recognizes compulsory union membership of all employees. The closed shop requires all new employees to be members of the union before hiring, and the open shop allows either status. Now, students, let's see where we can use semicolons. Let's check our skills. Add semicolons and commas where needed. Right, number one. We all learn by experience, however, some of us have to go to summer school. Let's check. We all learn by experience, semicolon. However, comma, some of us have to go to summer school. Let's check our skills through another example. I will have to add commas and semicolons again. The committee is considering the Victorian Inn, Minneapolis, Minnesota, the Hampton Inn, Appleton, Wisconsin, and Days Inn, Austin, Minnesota. I added semicolon after Minnesota over here and Wisconsin. Now students, let's check the basic use of the colon. First, in the introduction of a list, we use a colon after an independent clause introducing a formal list of items, whether the list is vertical or horizontal. For example, promotion depends on the following factors: ability, preparation, and performance. This summer, we plan to visit the following cities: New Orleans, Orlando, and Savannah. Now, students, this is an extremely important point that we all need to remember while using the colon in our punctuation. We need to justify a colon and be sure that the group of words introducing the list is a complete independent clause. Now, see this example. The primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. Now, as I said before, the justification is very important. See, the primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. You must be thinking where to use the colon, but you need to remember this point, that we have to be sure that the group of words introducing the list is a complete independent clause. Incomplete clause, it is this one, and that's why we're not going to add any colon. So we don't need colon here. Now, last point is going to be clear to you when you're going to read this point. To justify a colon, as I said, we have to be sure that the group of words introducing the list is a complete independent clause. Now we can add colon in the same sentence if the sentence is like this. The primary colors are the following: colon, red, yellow, and blue. Now see this? The primary colors are the following is a complete clause. That's why we can use colon after this. A student, like the last point, this point is also extremely significant to understand the use of colon. See this. Do not use a colon when the list follows a verb or a preposition. For example, the candidates for president are Beverly Forsberg, Joella Hundley, and Edward. Okay, as I said, do not use a colon when the list follows a verb or a preposition. Now I'm going to give you the example of a preposition. Budget requests have been received from no colon, payroll, personnel, and engineering. Alright, students, now let's see another point. Use a colon to introduce long one sentence quotation and quotation of two or more sentences. As I said, incomplete quotations do not they are not interrupting the flow of a sentence, do not require a colon, a comma, or an initial capital letter. For example, the state of Minnesota is sometimes described as the land of 10,000 lakes. Now let's check our skills. Add colons, semicolons, and commas where needed. We planned sales during the following holidays: Easter, July 4th, and Christmas. We planned sales during the following holidays: Easter, July 4th, and Christmas. Let's check another way of using colons and semicolons. Disney delivers the same entertainment experience to people in New York, boys, and Tokyo. Disney delivers the same entertainment experience to people in New York, boys, and Tokyo. No need for colons and semicolons in this example. Thank you very much, students. I hope colons and semicolons are clear to you. We're going to explain this in a detail later. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.